some tips and some stuff that might help you in like an anxiety toolkit sort of way. I know there's a lot of reading online about having an anxiety toolkit to deal with your panic attacks and anxiety, but I'm just going to ramble on for a little bit at you. So first of all, it starts with the breath. For me, if I was able to have some control over my breath, I was able to have control over the adrenaline that was coursing through my veins from the panic, from that sensation of dread, from that sensation of nausea, from that sensation of chaos or doom, or whatever was making me feel extremely anxious. So I had this technique of breathing in for 5 seconds, holding my breath for 5 seconds, and breathing out for 8. Now I'm just going to run through this with you for a few minutes. So first we breathe in for 5 through our nose. We hold it for 5. And we breathe out for 8. And we repeat the process once again. Okay, so in through our nose. And hold it for 5. And breathe out for 8. And once again, breathe in through our nose. And then hold it for 5. And breathe out for 8. So I'm talking seconds here, obviously, just to clarify. Okay, do that for as long as you need to. Pause the video if you need to. I find that starting with the breathing exercises begins to help me get a hold on a sense of control or a grasp on the physical element of the panic and anxiety. And that to me helps diffuse things a little bit. Secondly, if you're able to get to a place where you feel most comfortable and safe, often when I was in places that were a little bit overwhelming, I would have to escape to the closest cubicle, or the toilet cubicle. If I was close enough to my home, I'd escape back to my room, just kind of pull the duvet over. But more often than not, you might not be necessarily anywhere close to where you feel safe. For me, whenever I had to take public transport, like if I had to take an hour and a half bus journey to university, and that was anxiety riddled for me because I was stuck on this bus for an hour and a half, and it was almost impossible to get off for fear of like missing lectures or something. I wish in retrospect I would have just gotten off the bus and caught the next one whenever I was feeling anxious. Not always possible. Breathing exercises is a big one. Breathing exercises. Do things that feel comfortable for you. Going out, social situations, only do what you can manage. You know, if it creates too much anxiety or panic in you, just readjust to what's comfortable for you. You know, visualizing what the anxiety looks like in your mind's eye helps me a lot. I recognize that I feel a ball of panic in my stomach, in the pit of my stomach, which often leads to me feeling quite nauseous at times. I'm feeling like like I have an impending sense of doom because of a cascading thought process. It's like tumbling down. It's like one thought after the other, where what if? Completely irrational, but completely normal at the same time. We have
for cavemans in a way, where we have a fight, flight, and survival, fight, flight, and freeze instincts. Those are our survival instincts when we're put in a place of confrontation, for example. However, our brains, our minds have adapted and evolved so much more over time that we haven't got a saber-toothed tiger to have to deal with these days. So we're often in conflict with our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And if we've had experiences, learned experiences in the negative realm, then that can impact the way that we think, which can put us into a fight, flight, or freeze state of mind. Speaking from a mental place, so being able to recognize that tumbling thought pattern of what if, creating potential anxiety and panic attacks in you really helps as well. Some people feel anxiety in their chest, they get a tightness of chest, some in their jaw, some in their shoulders. Like for me, in the pit of my stomach. Some people get numb and tingly legs. It's different for everyone, but it's completely normal to have such responses as well. Like, so many people suffer with anxiety and panic disorder. It's I'm basically communicating that I want you to know that you're not odd, you're not alone, you're not isolated, even though you might feel that way. I truly understand what it is like to live with anxiety and panic disorder. I mean, I remember feeling it from the age of 4, and it became really pronounced when I was about 18 years of age, with a lot of chaos going on in my life and no sleep either, like very little sleep, and that compounds the anxiety because your adrenaline is working overtime, which you can feel that anxious and panicky sensation when you haven't slept enough. I'm just throwing a lot of different things at you here. I find that having a picture from in my wallet from a good time, I can go to that and reference and focus on that whenever I'm feeling anxious, or whenever I'm in a really bad place in terms of the adrenaline running through my body, or the tumbling thought process, the feeling that certain aspects of my life are out of control. It's about gaining back a sense of perceived control over your environment and over your life. When we have that sense of perceived control over our lives, the anxiety reduces, taking baby steps towards having control over your life. I found for me, help my anxieties like reduce somewhat. For example, learning to drive. When I had the ability to drive, I was able to have the option to remove myself from situations I felt anxious in. Putting a time frame, I don't know if this works for everyone, but for me, I was able to, because I had anxiety so regularly, panic attacks so regularly, I was able to put almost a time frame on the panic attack. So it would usually last between half an hour to an hour. So I knew that I would be feeling rubbish for half an hour to an hour, and then I would slowly come out of it as my adrenaline dropped and started to sort of come out of my system a little bit. I once had a panic attack for 4 hours once, but I hadn't slept, and I'd just been working outright for days, just working, and it just caught up with me. So yeah, if you're able to do that, I don't know if it might help you. It helped me. Another tip for me, I found to help me, is that if I had a really soothing soundtrack, or a really soothing, like, guided meditation downloaded onto my phone, I could just stick my headphones in and focus on that, and that would create an anchor for me until the anxiety passed. I definitely found a correlation between lack of sleep and increased anxiety and panic attacks. So if you can get as much sleep in as possible, please, I highly recommend it. I would be telling my younger self to get as much sleep in as possible during my teenage and 20 to 30 years of age period in my life, because it would have helped me personally reduce my anxieties quite a bit. Don't be afraid to talk about your panic attacks and your anxiety. Don't be afraid to communicate it to people who are in your sphere or circle, because if you need to exit out with a social situation, people are generally a lot more understanding these days than what they were when I was growing up. Like, it was a really unspoken thing. But yeah, let your friends know that you have it, because they can be more understanding, and it's less of a burden to carry around. I've found over the years, when I first tried it, telling my friendship group or my band at that time that I had anxiety and panic attacks, it was a really scary thing. But then I went on to make a song about it, and it really resonated with a lot of people, and I was really surprised. I wasn't expecting that at all. Really wasn't expecting that at all. But those days are gone. So yeah, some quick tips and advice. If you want anything more specific on panic, anxiety, that type of thing, let me know in the comments down below, and I will do my best to facilitate that conversation here on this platform. So from my heart to yours, I hope the day is good to you, and from my heart to yours, I know that anxiety can rob you of the joy of the day. It gets better in time. See you soon. You take care of yourself.